In this video, we're going to finish out the adding and subtracting rational expressions worksheet on the KutaSoftware website under the Infinite Algebra 1 section. I'll leave a link in the description below so you know how to access this free worksheet. Now, picking up where we left off with number 17, we need to have a common denominator in order to add or subtract. So I'm going to be multiplying my first fraction by 1, and I'll also need to multiply my second fraction by 1. However, the one I'm going to multiply is going to be different for each. So in that first fraction, 4x over x squared plus 4x minus 5, I'm going to be multiplying by 4 over 4. And I'm multiplying by 4 over 4 because I have a 4 in this denominator and I want my denominators to be similar. So if I multiply this denominator by 4, and if I multiply this denominator by x squared plus 4x minus 5, because multiplication is commutative, they will equal the same. So I'll subtract 5 over 4, but I'm going to be multiplying that by x squared plus 4x minus 5 over x squared plus 4x minus 5. Now I'll simplify. 4x times 4 is going to be 16x, and that's going to be all over x squared plus 4x minus 5 times 4. Now in this step, I'm going to simplify x squared plus 4x minus 5. And because they're the same, when I simplify one, I'll also essentially be simplifying the other since they're equivalent. So what two numbers multiply to give me 5 and add to give me 4? When I factor that quadratic, that'll be 1 and 5 where the 1 is negative. Negative 1 plus 5 is positive 4 and negative 1 times 5 is a negative 5. So rewriting x squared plus 4x minus 5 as x plus 5 times x minus 1, that quadratic factored will get multiplied by 4. So I'll have 16x over 4 times x plus 5 times x minus 1. And then I'm subtracting. Now I'll distribute this 5 to x squared, 4x, and 5. So 5 times x is 5x squared, plus 5 times 4x is 20x, minus 5 times 5, which is 25. And that's all over, again, 4 times our factored form of our quadratic, which is x plus 5 times x minus 1. And you can see that I have the same denominator, therefore I can subtract the numerators. And I'll subtract them by combining like terms. So I'm going to take this 16x and subtract 20x. However, before I complete this subtraction and combine my like terms, remember when we're subtracting that entire quantity. So we're going to be also subtracting 5x squared, we're going to be subtracting 20x, and then we're going to be subtracting the negative 25, which would be adding 25. So remembering that, let's take 16x and subtract 20x. So that'll be negative 4x, and then we'll be subtracting 5x squared, and then we'll be subtracting that negative 25, which is adding a positive 25. And that's all over the same denominator, 4 times x plus 5 times x minus 1. So negative 4x minus 5x squared plus 25 over 4 times x plus 5 times x minus 1 is our solution in number 17. And number 18, again, I'm going to be multiplying by 1. So my 2 over x plus 3 will get multiplied by 1, and then I'll subtract 6x, 2x plus 1, also multiplied by 1. So the one that I'm going to be multiplying 2 over x plus 3 by is 2x plus 1 over 2x plus 1. And the one that I'm going to be multiplying 6x over 2x plus 1 by is x plus 3 over x plus 3. And this is so that I get an equivalent denominator. X plus 3 times 2x plus 1 is equal to 2x plus 1 times x plus 3. So simplifying, I'll distribute this 2 to 2x and 1, and then I'll distribute my 6x to x and 3. And remember, those are over the same denominator. So 2 times 2x is 4x, and then I'll add that to 2 times 1, which is 2. And because I have the same denominator, I'll go ahead and subtract that second quantity. 6x times x is 6x squared, and 6x times 3 is 18x. And that's all over 2x plus 1 times x plus 3. Now I need to simplify my numerator by combining my like terms. However, remember that we're subtracting this entire quantity, therefore we're going to be subtracting 6x squared and subtracting 18x. So combining my 4x and 18x, we're going to get 4x minus 18x, which is a negative 14x, and then I'll be adding 2 and subtracting 6x squared. So that's my simplified numerator, and it's all over my denominator of 2x plus 1 times x plus 3. That is my solution in number 18, negative 14x plus 2 minus 6x squared over 2x plus 1 times x plus 3. Now moving on to number 19, again I'm multiplying by 1. So 4x over x plus 3 will get multiplied by x plus 6 over x plus 6. And I'll be subtracting 4x over x plus 6, and that quantity multiplied by x plus 3 over x plus 3. So you can see that x plus 3 times x plus 6 is equivalent to x plus 6 times x plus 3. So now that I have the same denominator, x plus 3 times x plus 6, I'll be able to subtract my numerator. So I'll have 4x times x plus 6, and I'll be subtracting 4x times x plus 3. So let's simplify, but first we're going to need to distribute. So 4x times x is going to be 4x squared. 4x times 6 will be 24x, and I'll be subtracting 4x times x, which is 4x squared, and then also subtracting 4x times 3, which is 12x, and that's all over x plus 3 times x plus 6. So now combining my like terms in order to simplify, 4x squared will cancel out with 4x squared because 4x squared minus 4x squared is 0, and then I'll have 24x and I'm subtracting 12x, so I'll have positive 12x over x plus 3 times x plus 6. That is my solution in number 19. Now in number 20, again I'll multiply by 1. So I'll have 2x over 3x plus 3 times x plus 5 over x plus 5, and I'll subtract 2x plus 5 times 3x plus 3 over 3x plus 3. So note that my denominators are now the same, which is 3x plus 3 times x plus 5. So for my numerators, I'll have 2x times x plus 5, and I'll be able to subtract 2 times 3x plus 3. Now, once I distribute in my numerator, I'll distribute 2x to x, and then 2x to 5, and then 2 to 3x, and 2 to 3. So 2x times x is 2x squared, plus 2x times 5, which is 10x, minus 2 times 3x, which is minus 6x, and then minus 2 times 3, which is minus 6, and that's all over my denominator. However, I'm going to simplify this denominator a little bit further because I can pull out a 3 from that first binomial that's under that fraction bar. So 3x plus 3, pulling out a 3, I'll get x plus 1 in parentheses because 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 1 is 3, and that will get multiplied by x plus 5. So 3 times x plus 1 times x plus 5 is just my simplified denominator. And now in order to finish up, I'm going to combine like terms, which is combining 10x with 6x. So I'll have 2x squared plus 10x minus 6x is plus 4x, and then I'm subtracting 6 from that, and that's all over 3 times x plus 1 times x plus 5. And that is my solution in number 20. 2x squared plus 4x minus 6 over 3 times x plus 1 times x plus 5. Now on to number 21. We're going to take that first fraction, 6 over x minus 2, and multiply it by 1, and then add it to 6 over x plus 1, which is multiplied by 1. That first one that we're multiplying by will be x plus 1 over x plus 1. That second one that we'll be multiplying by will be x minus 2 over x minus 2. So now that I have the same denominator, x plus 1 times x minus 2 is equivalent to x minus 2 times x plus 1. So writing that as x plus 1 times x minus 2, I'll go ahead and add my numerator together over that same denominator. So I'll have 6 times x plus 1 plus 6 times x minus 2. Now I'll distribute my 6. So my numerator will be 6x plus 6 plus 6x minus 12. Because 6 times x is 6x, 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times x is 6x, and 6 times 2 is 12, and that 12 is subtracted. And that's all over x plus 1 times x minus 2. Now I'll combine my like terms to simplify. So that's combining 6x with 6x and 6 with 12. So 6x plus 6x is 12x, and 6 minus 12 will be minus 6, because 6 plus negative 12 is a negative 6, so we'll be subtracting that 6. And that's all over our denominator of x plus 1 times x minus 2. So 12x minus 6 over x plus 1 times x minus 2 is our answer for number 21. Now lastly in this video, we'll be going over number 22. And number 22 looks complicated, but it's rather simple because our denominator with 3v is 1 already. So if we were to multiply that first fraction by 1, it would be 1 over 1. So we're not going to need to multiply that first fraction because it's not going to change that denominator. We just need to change our second denominator by multiplying by 1, and that 1 is going to be 3v to the fourth minus 15v cubed minus 18v squared. So I'll have v minus 2 over that quantity, so 3v to the fourth minus 15v cubed minus 18v squared, and I'll be adding 3v over 1 times 3v to the fourth minus 15v cubed minus 18v squared over 3v to the fourth minus 15v cubed minus 18v squared. So now you can see that I have equivalent denominators. So my denominator is going to be 3v to the fourth minus 15v cubed minus 18v squared. And in my numerator, I'll have v minus 2, and I'll be adding that to 3v times 3v to the fourth, 3v times 15v cubed, and 3v times 18v squared. So 3v times 3v to the fourth is 9v to the fifth, and I'm subtracting 3v times 15v cubed, which is subtracting 45v to the fourth, and then I'm subtracting 3v times 18v squared, which is 54v cubed. So now simplifying that numerator, I do not have any like terms, so I'm just going to rewrite it in order of degree. So starting with my fifth degree, I have 9v to the fifth. Then my fourth degree, I'll be subtracting 45v to the fourth. And then my third degree, I'll be subtracting 54v cubed. I don't have a second degree, so next will be my first degree, which that v is added, and then I'll subtract my constant of 2. So 9v to the fifth minus 45v to the fourth minus 54v to the third plus v minus 2 is my numerator, and that's all over my denominator. However, I'm going to simplify this denominator because 3 goes into 3, 15, and 18, and v squared goes into v squared, v to the third, and v to the fourth. So pulling out a 3v squared, I'll get, within my parentheses, v squared minus 5v minus 6, because 3v squared times v squared is 3v to the fourth, 3v squared times 5v is 15v cubed, and 3v squared times 6 is 18v squared. However, I'm not quite done yet because that denominator can be simplified even further. So rewriting my numerator, 9v to the fifth minus 45v to the fourth minus 54v to the third plus v minus 2 all over my denominator. However, now I'm going to factor this quadratic that's in my parentheses. So what two numbers multiply to give me negative 6 and add to give me negative 5? That's going to be 1 and 6, where the 6 is negative. So the factored form of that quadratic will be v plus 1 times v minus 6. So in total, in my denominator, I'll have 3v squared times v plus 1 times v minus 6. So 9v to the fifth minus 45v to the fourth minus 54v cubed plus v minus 2 all over 3v squared times v plus 1 times v minus 6 is my solution in number 22. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you didn't do so before this worksheet, remember to click that like button, subscribe to my channel, and share this with your peers. All likes and subscriptions are greatly appreciated, and just let me know that you're finding these videos useful. So go ahead and do that now.